All right. So today we went back in for our baseline ultrasound and blood work. It went really, really well, super easy. They got us actually in and out so fast. We didn't even actually have to pay the parking garage for the under 30 minutes. So that was great, especially since we were doing it at our lunchtime for work. So that was really great. This month, it looks like everything's great. From the ultrasound, the lining is good. And everything looks great that way. We got a call from the doctor like almost immediately after we left, and she said that she would like to put me back on Letrozole on a slightly higher dose, just to make sure everything's all good with the way my cycle has been since I've gotten COVID. So she really wants to make sure that we track pretty much like once a week, maybe twice a week, going through this process, just because of how crazy these last couple cycles have been. So I'll go back on the Letrozole. They're sending it over to the CVS now to get filled. I'll do that for the next 5 days. And then we have another appointment on Monday just to do blood work and ultrasound, just because we don't want to miss the IUI chance again, just like we did last time. So since we're tracking it close enough, hopefully if my body does have a weird reaction to Letrozole again, or if I need to plan accordingly for the IUI, if we need to jump the IUI up, or if we need to plan it according to when I'm ovulating, hopefully we could do that. We really, really want to do IUI this month. I think it would really boost our spirits if we even got the chance to do it, just because these past couple cycles have been crazy. But it's really beneficial. And when the doctor called, I asked, why do you think that I ovulated so early on Letrozole? Is it even worth it for us to try again with that? Or why even going on a higher dose doesn't make sense to get put on that again? And she basically said that since COVID, it looked like since I didn't ovulate in the month that I had COVID, there was left all over follicles for the month after I had COVID. So my body was all out of whack, being like, why are there more short follicles? We need to ovulate it early and get this out so we can have our period and get basically everything out of the system from all the mess that COVID made. So she thinks that's what happened. I really hope so. I hope my system's not out of whack, just because since I've been taking the ovulation test from home using my pee, I have always had super regular cycles where I ovulate on the 13th or 14th day of the month. So of course the 2 cycles that we use the fertility clinic, of course they are irregular, and of course it's not the norm. So hopefully this cycle will be really good for that. With the Letrozole, we'll kind of get back on track. Now everything hopefully is out of my system from the COVID cycle. Man, COVID just sucks all the time. Sucks the fun out of everything. It sucked the fun out of our wedding. Now it sucked the fun of ovulation and planning for a baby. But so they're sending over the prescription for Letrozole. I'll probably be on that for those 5 days. We're going back on Monday, which is exactly a week. Today's Monday as well, to make sure that everything's progressing well and that I'm not having another weird reaction to the Letrozole. So that's really good. But other than that, it looked really good. Baseline, ultrasound, and blood work, check. And now we're kind of moving on and hopefully getting to do IUI this cycle. It would be really, really amazing if we could get an IUI cycle under our belt and get higher chances to getting a baby soon. So I'll keep you along on the journey, and hopefully this is gonna go really well this time. Fingers crossed. So we are back from cycle day 11 testing. It went really well. So right now, just to kind of give you a little recap of what happened at the appointment. We went in for a normal blood work ultrasound. It looked like at the time when they did the ultrasound, She said I had 2 follicles on my right ovary and 1 on my left that were maturing really well. So we did the blood work, we did the ultrasound, and then we left to go back, log into work, the whole normal rest of the day until we got the call from the doctor. So the doctor called me probably around like 2-3 hours later, and she said that 3 follicles were maturing, so that was fantastic news. Of course, there's no way to know that all 3 would implant, all 2 would implant, all 1 would implant ever, but it definitely increases our chance if we have 3 follicles instead of just 1. It definitely increases everything. So that was really exciting to hear. So the plan going forward is that today is Monday. We're gonna go back on Wednesday because I'm not quite ovulating yet. We went early for today's appointment, so we were able to catch the ovulation because last 2 months have been kind of out of whack ever since COVID. So this month we went back and try to track it really closely along the way. So I'm not quite ovulating just yet, but they think it will happen probably Wednesday or Thursday with all where my hormones are and things like that. So we're going back on Wednesday for a blood work and ultrasound, and we have a standby appointment with the fertility clinic. So if everything does come back great that day, we will go back that same day in the afternoon. Our appointment is at 7 a.m. So we'll go 7 a.m., find out the results, see if we need to come back that afternoon, that Wednesday afternoon, or if we need to go Thursday. It's really dependent on my hormones and where I'm at in general during that time, but it's really, really exciting. I'm glad that we caught the ovulation just because with everything that happened the last 2 cycles and with COVID and everything, I'm so happy that, because at this point last month I already knew that we weren't going to be able to do the IUI. So even given the chance to do IUI this month, it's just a very nice feeling, and I'm really excited that hopefully we will be able to try IUI and I'll be able to report back what it was like, and I mean, hopes and prayers and thoughts and vibes that it would work. I know of course the chances of it working on the first try are slim, but at least we're getting to the point and we're getting closer to the main goal, if not, and getting at least the opportunity to try IUI. So that's what's going on. Today was a really good day because we found out that I haven't ovulated yet. We didn't miss the chance. It's still going. There's 3 follicles that are maturing, so that triples our chances of one of them implanting. Of course, we would be open to as many babies as humanly possible. If there was 2 or 3, 3 would be insane. Something that we've definitely never thought about before, but today's a really good day. It's really positive. It was really amazing to get good news after 2 months of having weird cycles because of COVID and figuring it out, and my cycles being out of whack. So it's really amazing to finally get somewhat a step in the right direction and know that we could do IUI sometime this week. It's really great news. So again, I'll take you along and everything about the journey and the process, and fingers, toes, everything crossed that this month is definitely a step in the right direction, and it already kind of feels like it is. But let's continue to hope. I'm really excited. Okay. We did it. We did IUI. and it was really, really good. So take a couple steps back. We went in for that 7 a.m. appointment on Wednesday, and they got us through really quickly. They did blood work, ultrasound, everything looked like it was either I was gonna ovulate either that day or the next. They just needed to get my blood work back for results, my blood work results back, just to make sure before we came back. So they guesstimated that we would be back either Wednesday afternoon, so that afternoon, or Thursday. So we left after doing blood work and ultrasound, and we waited. And it was a very long couple hours of my life. We got back, started working again. I got a call a couple hours after saying that, of course, the blood machine was not working. So it was going to take a little bit more time, but as soon as they knew anything, they were going to get back to me. What ended up happening was we got a call back, and they said, come in right now for the IUI. So Ryan had to do his thing. We brought in the cup. They had to spin it down. They had to do whatever they needed to do for that sample. And then we did it. And I was very excited, very nervous, because I had done the HSG test lately, and it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't a very comfortable experience at all. It was actually pretty painful. So I was a little nervous that it was going to be similar to that. But actually, it was way less painful, which is crazy. I think from what I've read online and from what I've heard, when you do the HSG test around like day 8 or 9, the reason is why it's so painful is because you're not ovulating yet. So your cervix is completely closed, whereas when you're ovulating, it's slightly open. So it's easier for them to get the catheter through. So that was fantastic news. Of course I got the normal cramp when they went in, and that normal cramping, but nothing out of the ordinary, nothing even remotely like to that HSG test, which is great. And because even though I want this to be the one and only time we do IUI and pray to God that this works, there's a chance that we're gonna have to do it again and again. So knowing that at least it's not as painful as I once thought was really comforting. So we went in, we did it. They basically said to make sure to also have sex that night, just to be sure, and then to wait the 2 weeks. I was really excited, really nervous. I couldn't stop talking, couldn't stop being jittery, thinking that that could be the day that this could be the month that gives us the opportunity to get pregnant. Of course, every month is that opportunity, but just since it was our first IUI, I just had a little bit more hope. So I ended up having 3 follicles, which is great news, and my husband had 90 million sperm with 95% mobility, and doctors seemed ecstatic at those numbers, which was really great news. So that made us happy, that they were really happy. And they said that with 3 follicles and the statistics of Ryan's sample, that there was they didn't say that there was a really good chance, but they kind of gave us the vibe that it was more of a chance, since we were doing IUI with the 3 follicles on Letrozole. So that's really, really exciting. Right after the IUI, I just had a little bit of ovulation cramping, but that's really normal for me. Some intense back pain, which is also really normal for me. I had a very, 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 very light bleeding, where I just went to the bathroom and peed one time, and there was just a little bit of blood, but nothing unbearable. Again, nothing like the HSG test comparison. So that was really great.
So right now, again, right now today I'm sitting here at 2 DPO. So we did the IUI on Wednesday, today's Friday. And I feel pretty good. I have some heavy cramping right now on my right side, which is where all 3 ovaries were sitting, on my right side. So that does make sense. And again, it would be way too early probably to even think that that cramping meant something at all besides the fact that I'm ovulating. But it's good that I feel something, I think. So I've been tired and have a headache, but also work has been crazy busy, so it's not like that's the only thing going on. So as of right now, we're just really, really excited that we got the chance to try IUI. I really, 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 really hope that this worked. I have a really good gut feeling about it, but again, I don't want to get my hopes up too much just because I am being cautious. But I'm excited that we got the chance to try IUI, and that it's a step closer, hopefully, even if we do not get pregnant this month. It's one step closer, and I'm really excited. So yeah, that's where we're at. The next 2 weeks are gonna be very long. I already know because of all the other 2-week waits. I'm going to try really, really hard not to test before the 2 weeks, but I can't make any promises. So we'll just have to wait, I guess, and see. We've done all that we can do, and now it's kind of just up to fate. So yeah, I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really positive. Yeah, it's kind of all I have right now. Just kind of taking it day by day, occupying my mind, occupying with plans, so that way I don't go crazy, because I will. So here's hoping. Okay, so today I am 7 DPO. Exactly a week ago was when we went in for the IUI. We did that last Wednesday. It is now Wednesday again. I've heard different terminology used days past transfer. I'm not exactly sure if that's used for only IVF or also for IUI. I think that I ovulated the same day that we did the IUI. So in this case, I don't think it exactly matters what terminology I use, days past transfer or days past ovulation. I think it's the same day. So I'm gonna keep saying DPO, but I'm gonna look into further if days past transfer usually only relates to IVF or also for IUI, since you're technically are transferring something. But for the last week, I have been keeping it really chill, trying to stay busy. I didn't work out for 5 days, I believe, after the IUI, because a lot of the stuff that I read online was to basically just hang low, don't too much exercise. If you do exercise, just do a walk, but nothing strenuous, nothing that you would have to really move your abs a lot for. I know that a lot of people also say it doesn't really matter, stick to your normal routine, but if there was any chance that that was gonna affect anything at all, I didn't want to take the chance, so I just didn't work out for those 5 days, and was just able to kind of relax and put my mind a little bit at ease. I haven't had any crazy symptoms for the past, I would say 3 days, probably from like 5 DPO, 6 DPO, and now today. I have had a lot of little twinges, a lot of little cramps. It feels a lot like period cramps, but a little bit more intense. And my, where my uterus is, I would say my stomach, but it's not exactly my stomach, but my I feel pretty bloated. So when I did work out yesterday, the first time after the IUI, I felt as if my stomach was a little bit like distended, and it's not like I gained weight or anything like that. It was more like I felt like my uterus was swollen inside. I felt like it was more sensitive. Every time I would bend down, it felt as if I got a big period cramp, or it was just sensitive. I don't really know how to explain it in a way that makes sense, but it was just bloated and a little bit more sensitive. So that's what has been going on. I also have had a headache. I've had little waves of nausea and dizziness in particular. The dizziness really just started this morning, getting up and moving around and feeling just a little dizzy. So I've been drinking just a little bit more water just to rule out dehydration. I do drink a ton of water anyway, but I'm just kind of upping my intake to make sure that that's not what that is. Also, TMI, I've also had a lot of discharge, which isn't uncommon for me around ovulation. So I don't know if that's in relation to ovulation or if I am very early pregnant. I know that that can be a major sign for people. My boobs have also been slightly sore, but again, that's also a really common thing for me for ovulation. So nothing out of the blue around ovulation time besides the little twinges and little cramps and feeling just a little bit more sensitive. Like when I was jumping around, and I do a Zumba workout most days. So when I was doing the Zumba and jumping and moving quick, it just felt like it was very sensitive. Like I would jump fast and it would feel not painful is the wrong word, but just uncomfortable. Like it was very sensitive, as if I shouldn't be doing what I was doing. So I'm not sure if I'm going to work out again today or tomorrow or wait, just because I don't want to put myself in any pain or any discomfort if that's the reason why. But yeah, so that's been kind of what's been going on so far. I've tried really hard not to test right now. It's only 7 DPO, so I know if I tested even now anyway, the chances that it would be positive are like slim to none, even if I was pregnant, even if something was implanted. So I'm probably gonna wait until 9 DPO or 10 DPO. I know my doctor said to wait until 2 weeks, which would be next Thursday, which would be a whole other week. 10 DPO is Saturday, 9 DPO is Friday, so 9 DPO is only 2 days away. I've also been a little bit emotional, more so than normal. I'm genuinely a pretty emotional person as is. But just more recently, there's also been a lot going on in life, a lot of changes, a lot of things going on. But I feel like probably this past week, I've just been a little bit more sensitive emotionally and been a little bit more on edge, I guess is the word, when it comes to my husband and things going on. Just been a little bit more sensitive. Again, everything, it can have to do with being pregnant or ovulation or your period, but also it has just been a stressful week. So I'm not quite sure, but yeah, those are my symptoms so far. Nothing crazy. Again, 1 DPO, 2 DPO, 3 DPO. Pretty much up until 5, I have just been kind of laying low. I'm really trying not to symptom track, I'm sorry, but it's really hard when you're in it. It sounds so easy when you're just saying it to someone, just relax and wait till the 2 weeks, keep busy. But unless you're in it, every single thing that your body goes through, every single symptom that your body has, you're noticing everything. And it's so hard when you start to get a headache, you're like, oh, is this it? Or when you get a cramp, oh, that could be implantation. You start to kind of drive yourself a little crazy. So I'm trying really hard not to do that, but I also want to be really in tune with my body. So there's kind of like that fine line. But anyway, those are what my updates are. When I do take a test, I will show it and show what day I took it and all that kind of stuff. But for now, that is the update. All right. Also, side note, just look how cute my dog is. I love her so much. She's my literal child. She's always at my side. All right, so I am 13 DPO today. I just took a test. I don't feel pregnant. I don't think that this cycle worked for us for our first IUI. My period is set to come tomorrow, and I just don't have any symptoms. I don't have any of the symptoms of my period. I also don't have any signs that I'm pregnant. I've taken a couple tests. All of them were negative so far. Leading up to today, this is the last day I'm going to test just for my mental health and in general. I think it'll make me feel better since I know that my period is likely coming. It looks like it is very negative today, very negative. My period is set to come tomorrow, and it looks like our first round of IUI didn't work. I knew going into this, I knew the statistics, I knew the possibility of getting pregnant on the first IUI was really low. Of course, I still had a lot of hope, but luck hasn't exactly been on our side so far. So I'm really, really sad, and I'll probably cry about it all today and all tonight. But right now I will get back to work, kind of keep myself busy. Right now, like I said, it looks very negative at 13 DPO, and with 1 day to go until my period, odds are I would be able to know by now. So our first IUI cycle didn't work. I was really hopeful in the beginning. Doesn't seem like it did, but here's to looking forward and hopefully getting a baby one day and knowing that all we did to get to that baby was really worth it. And I'm really upset and I'm really angry at the process in general, and that we have to go through it. But anyway, I'll cry about it all tonight off camera. So I'll take you along with cycle 2 of IUI. I don't know if anything's going to change with me being on Letrozole or anything like that, so I'll call the clinic and do baseline testing when I do officially get my period, and kind of take you along that month as well. It is what it is. I really, really wish that it was positive, but it looks like it's just not going to be this cycle for us. So here's hoping for next cycle.